sportsman and a shepherd. He's a lazy bastard living in a suit. But he does say what I tell him, even though it isn't welcome. He just doesn't have the freedom to refuse. He will see.
To the extent that I have such a thing as a personal hero, it is Leonard Cohen. It's not because he's my favorite singer-songwriter. He's not, although he would definitely be in my top 5. But it seems to me that Leonard Cohen lived a full life of wine, women, and song, even if all he ever learned from love was how to shoot at someone who outdrew you, and with at least his share of depression and existential dread along the way, and managed to reach, by the end of it, a place of, for want of a better word, enlightenment. He's the only musician from whom I've ever sought wisdom. Particularly on his last few albums, he seemed to find an understanding of what it means to be human and how we should exist in our time here, and it's this understanding I'd also like to attain before I leave. I can't say at this point that I'm keeping pace with Leonard. I'm not a world-famous poet, novelist, and singer-songwriter. I'm a writer who gave up on it, and a guy with an obscure YouTube channel about bonsai. But then Leonard was a late starter too, and took his time to get there. So I tell myself that there's still time. I still hope to make it to that place one day. If Leonard Cohen were a bonsai, he would be a literati bonsai. I'll listen to no arguments on this. It's the scholars and thinkers bonsai, the style that is not immediately beautiful to everyone. It's spare, austere, and rewards careful attention and study. Literati is a difficult style. I think I heard it said once that literati bonsai can't be constructed, but are the final, natural destination of every bonsai if they live long enough, and I like this idea. I only have one literati bonsai, and it's true it suffers from the flaw of being constructed, rather than arriving naturally at that destination after many years. It's a Calitris rhomboida. I bought it a few years ago at a council green plan garden sale, along with a few others. When I bought it, it was dead straight, and since that time I've been trying to put curves and character into it while I learn about the species. Calitris is a genus of Australian native conifers. They're in the cypress family, like junipers, and have tremendous potential for bonsai, although they're a little explored. What I've learned so far is that they're very tough and can handle extensive pruning, but are sensitive to repotting, which is why this tree still exists in this inappropriate cascade pot. They don't backbud easily, at least I've never learned the trick, and I don't think anybody else in the Australian bonsai community has either. So their tendency is to elongate and become sparse over time, which lends them naturally to the literati style. Today I want to give it a full wiring and start to move it more towards this form. If Leonard Cohen ever said anything about bonsai, I haven't been able to find it. I imagine he wouldn't have found it a very noble pursuit, but probably would have been amused at the strange ways humans occupy themselves, and I like to think he would have at least recognized it as a possible path in the general direction of enlightenment. The intersection of Leonard Cohen and bonsai lies in Zen Buddhism. Buddhism interests me, and I took a course in it once. I lost interest when it started to get into the metaphysical. I'll probably always be a dubious agnostic when it comes to anything religious, but it does seem to me that a couple of thousand years ago, Buddha found some essential truths about the right way to live. That to live is to suffer, that we suffer from birth, sickness, and growing old, from being separated from people we love and from being around people we dislike, from not getting the things we want and from our internal dissatisfactions and awareness of the impermanence of happiness. And that there is a path to wisdom and enlightenment through acceptance of impermanence, moderation, right conduct, and a meta-awareness of one's emotional existence in the present, which is the presently trendy notion of mindfulness. That's a very limited description of Buddhism. Please don't take it as a summary of Buddhist thought, it's just what I took from it.
I had an appetite for some kind of structure. So I formalized my relationship with this teacher. If he'd have been a professor of physics in Heidelberg, I would have learned German and studied physics. He happened to be a Zen monk. So in order to participate in his world, I had to shave my head and put on robes, and I was very happy to do so because it was clear to me from the beginning that he knew a lot more than I did.
Like Leonard's study of Buddhism, I practice bonsai, at least in part, because it provides a useful path to me to understand those ideas. I'm better at achieving them in bonsai than I am in my life, which is part of the point. People often talk about the meditative nature of bonsai practice, and those things are valid and true, but I want to talk about something else. I think I'm good at not attaching too much to my bonsai. I enjoy them as they are and don't desire thicker trunks or ancient trees, which for reasons of geography and practicality, I'll probably never own anyway. I like some more than others and am sentimental about a few of them, but I don't rank or judge them and try to enjoy all of them as they are. I like the collection of Japanese maple seedlings I grew from seed as much as my more refined trees. People often talk about bonsai teaching you patience, but I think this is a mistake. Patience still implies an orientation to the distant future, and it's better to enjoy them as they are, in all their current imperfection, with only an unattached curiosity and hopefulness about how they might look one day. That's all I'm going to do for the moment. And I think I'm actually pretty happy with it. You know, you can spend forever fiddling with the branches and angles, and at a certain point you're just doing more damage to the tree, and I will check it again tomorrow. Sometimes you see different things the next day, and there might be something that I need to change. And now I'm going to do the thing I never do, which is clean up properly. The next day, I did find some things that I want to change about it. The first is I'm not happy at all with this branch. It's got this loop curve over. It's got a very wide look about it. The other thing is this branch here. From what is now the current front, it's kind of become a crossing branch, and in a two-dimensional sense, it's taking up the same space as these two back branches. So I just don't think I need this branch. There is something else I take from Leonard. It's not Buddhist, although it's not in opposition to it, and is at least Buddhism adjacent. It's something I find difficult to explain because I only seem to get a momentary insight into it. It's how to be a true artist. It involves a certain kind of concentration and awareness and devotion to seeing and saying the truth in every moment. Sometimes I approach an understanding of this, but it's only fleeting. Instead, my concentration is wrecked, like everyone's these days, by high stimulation, low effort content, by the dopamine hits of social media, likes and subscribers, comments, clickbait, engagement bait, rage bait, doom scrolling. I need to get better at getting away from it. I'm happy with how my literati Calitris has turned out. It does still suffer from the fault of being a constructed thing rather than emerging naturally from the material. We only have the material we have, and it's up to us to try to do the best we can with it. I too am just paying my rent every day in the Tower of Song, one day at a time, even when the progress is undiscernible or goes in the wrong direction. It's a continuous process with a lot of failure along the way and a dubious possibility of success, but I hope to get there in the end. Sincerely, Zachary Growing.